Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are taking a look at the Streamlight TLR RM-1. And before we get this video started, I want to let you guys know, as always, the ways that you can support everything that I do here on Firearm Freedom. You can check those links down in the description and they will bring you to the Firearm Freedom merchandise store. Anything you purchase on the merchandise store greatly supports everything that I do here on the channel, and I really appreciate you guys repping the awesome merch that's over on the Teespring Firearm Freedom store. Aside from that, if merchandise is not for you, you can check out the Firearm Freedom Subscribe Star account. There's not a lot of extra content over on the Subscribe Star account, but it gives you guys a way to just simply donate even as little as $1 a month to support everything that I do here. And if you are not looking to donate to the channel in any sort of way, what will really help me out is watching these videos, hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell, and commenting down below. When you comment down below, it really helps defeat the YouTube algorithms that are constantly pushing down gun content here on the platform. I have had this Streamlight for a few months now, and I really have been enjoying it. Streamlight dropped a few new flashlights, and they're actually coming out with even more new options as we speak. A few new models just released, and you guys will be seeing a lot of those models here soon on the channel. Now, you guys know you've been watching me for long enough now. Hopefully, if you haven't, I'll give you a little bit of a lowdown. I always give you guys full disclosure on everything involving how I work with these companies. Streamlight was nice enough to actually send me this light free of charge to check out on the channel. They did not pay me or anything like that to make this video. They just simply gave me the light and wanted to see what I thought about it. I've been working with Streamlight now for actually a couple of years, and they have always been a pretty incredible company from the ground up. They have never once asked me to say certain things in a video or only give a light or a product positive reviews. They have always told me to just give them honest and open feedback, and I really love that about their company, and that's why you guys continually see Streamlight products pop up on my channel. You guys may have just seen the Streamlight TLR video that dropped on the channel. If you haven't seen that already, I will post a card up in the right-hand corner of your screen right now where you can check that out. They also have an RM2, which you could guess it, is the exact same size as the TLR 9. It just has the different switch on the back. And I have to say, probably the most exciting thing about their new RM-1 series of what you're seeing here in front of you is the depression switch in the back of the light. For a long time, Streamlight has had rail-mounted light options. They've been in the size of Surefire Scout lights, and they've actually fit all the Surefire Scout mounts, and those have been incredible lights. I have personally purchased probably around 6 or 7 of those lights. I continue to buy them, continue to enjoy them, and I have run them on a bunch of different guns, from AKs to ARs to even shotguns, and I have yet to have a single issue with one of those lights. So those are definitely not a bad light by any means, but Streamlight is trying to address something a little bit different with this option that they give for the RM series. This new option is going to feature this curved depression switch in the back of the light, which is incredibly ergonomic for your thumb. For the majority of shooting with the RM-1, I was actually running the light on my Palmetto State Armory PX9, and on the PX9, I was running it with the included pressure pad from the factory. Even without the pressure pad, this new depression switch in the back of the light is pretty freaking awesome. The other really nice thing about the light that we'll touch on here for how it operates is you guys will notice something a little bit different in the back, and that is a spot where you can plug in the pressure pad itself. Now, this is something as well that's totally different for Streamlight rail-mounted options, and they have had similar things when you were looking at older TLR 1s that were their rail mount kit for rifles. They did have a similar mounting system in the back, but they only allowed you to put in the pressure pad. You could not utilize the button to switch on the light at the same time. The benefit with the new RM-1 series is that if you plug in the pressure pad, you are now going to have the option to turn the light on with the pressure pad, and the pressure pad is going to be slightly different here. You guys will notice that it is a little bit different from a normal Streamlight pressure pad because the normal ones will have a button for constant on, which this one does not have. It is only the pad itself, and I would imagine they did that to make it just a little bit more compact on the RM-1 model. I only have the TLR9, which does not include the pressure pad, so I'm not sure if on that larger RM2 they have the original button that a lot of other Streamlight pads have on them, but I really don't mind this. You can click it once for constant on, or you can click and hold for momentary on, which is typically what you're gonna see on most pressure pads out there. But I think the most exciting thing about this is that not only do you have the use of the pressure pad, but while the cord is still in place, you still have use of the button as well. So you can use either option. So if your thumb is not in the position to get to the pressure pad for whatever reason, but it is near the light, you can just go ahead and click the light on from the back. You also don't have to worry about this getting accidentally turned on in a bag or something like that, because when you are not using the light and it's in storage or whatever, you can actually twist the bezel of the light over and you're gonna feel a small little click. You're not gonna really hear a click, but it is definitely noticeable on your hand, and that is going to turn the light off. So no matter how many times you hit the button or hit the pressure pad, the light is not going to negligently discharge itself in the bag, and all of a sudden your batteries are totally drained. Speaking of batteries, the RM-1 is going to run off of one standard CR123A battery. It does come with the battery, and you're going to get a runtime of about 1.5 hours, which is standard for a light of this setup. You're also working with 500 lumens and only 5,000 candela. So with that lower amount of candela, which is not too terribly low considering the overall size of the light, that is going to still give you a really nice amount of throw. So using it on something like a PCC or on a smaller setup, that is going to be just fine for most home defense situations, or even for searching around the yard or something like that. You could do that no problem with this light. The only time you're gonna really want more candela and a lot more reach is if you're looking maybe for a full-size rifle light and something that you might be reaching out past 100 yards with to spot game or something like that, or in a defensive situation, which obviously in that case you would probably want to go with the RM2 rather than the RM1. The battery compartment is O-ring sealed, and the compartment itself is actually uncovered by the bulb here in the front. You just simply twist that off and it's going to reveal the battery compartment, and when you twist it back on, you're just going to want to make sure that it's fully in place and locked down, and your light's gonna be good to go. A lot of the footage that you guys are gonna see involving the testing of the light itself actually in the dark in a yard, you're looking at the tree line all the way in the back of the yard at around 95 feet. And keep in mind that the camera really does not do any light justice compared to how it looks in person. A lot of the time, the footage that you will also see indoors judging the light in a pitch black room is going to show you a lot more just the overall spill of the light. But you guys are still going to notice that even at 95 feet, you are still getting a really good throw and a good hot spot out to that distance. And I can tell you guys that to my human eye in person, it was no issues at all identifying anything at that distance, and the spill covered pretty much the entire yard without issue. Now, I did compare the light to the Streamlight TLR HL. This is going to be the 1,000 lumen light, the Surefire X300 Ultra, which is also 1,000 lumens, and then finally the OG TLR7, which when you are comparing the TLR7 to the RM1, you guys are going to note that this is, for lack of a better words, the exact same light. They are almost the same body all the way around. You're just going to notice a small difference with how the light is actually turned on. Also, the lumens and the output are all going to be incredibly similar, and I think that Streamlight really did a good job at making these end pieces a lot more modular for a lot more options nowadays that you can run on a bunch of different guns. Like many other Streamlight pistol-mounted lights, these are going to come with interchangeable pieces here that you will get in the box with the light. It's going to come with a bunch of different mounting solutions if you wanted to mount it on something different than a standard Picatinny rail. I did not need to mess with this at all. Out of box, it came good to go for a standard rail on any sort of a rifle or a large frame pistol that you want to run it on. The other nice thing about the RM-1, and this is really cool about any of the Streamlight rail mounted lights, is that they are going to come with the pressure pad included. A lot of other lights on the market are going to be incredible lights, but they don't come with the mounting accessories for pressure pads or the pressure pads themselves. So if you want to run that, you're going to have to pay a large amount of extra money in order to get that pressure pad and just run it from the factory like it really should be run, or if you don't want to run the standard tail cap on these lights. For the price of the TLR RM-1, you're looking right now online on like Amazon, $148. So really not too bad. Very comparable to a lot of the other Streamlight stuff out there that can be mounted to a rifle. And that is also not bad considering all the extras that it comes with and all of your mounting solutions. The only downfall that I can see with the RM-1, and this would be the same downfall of any other light that's really designed from the beginning to be on a handgun, but then is also multi-purpose into a rifle setup as well. You're gonna note that it really lifts off of the gun just a little bit more. It's just a tiny bit bulkier than you can get one of the Streamlight ProTac rail mounts. Those guys with certain scout mounts can get incredibly tight to the rail, and it seems a lot more streamlined than this little chunky light hanging off the side of your gun. But with that being said, I'm sure if you put a measuring device on the side of each of them, it really wouldn't be that much further out. I think it just seems like it's a little bit chunkier on the side of the gun because of the smaller profile and the fact that you really don't have any other mounting solution to hug it up against the rail other than a standard Picatinny mount. Now you still do have the option with this light, which is a favorite of mine, of putting it in front of your flip up front sight on your rifle. And that actually lines up really nicely with that thumb activation switch on the back. And then also the new pressure pad mounting system actually comes off to a 90-degree angle. So that should be able to go off right to the side and avoid the front sight entirely, and you shouldn't have any issues with that. Streamlight also includes another little plug in the package that you can put into that section there, so that way if you're not using the pressure pad, it's going to cover the hole that the pressure pad switch would go into. I believe it has the exact same waterproofing with or without that, so I'm not sure if it's really needed 100%. I did not use that at all during the duration of the testing of this light. And it is standard IPX7 waterproof. Now, I didn't get a chance to run this in any sort of rainy conditions. Unfortunately, the day that I went to the range with this was a few months ago when it was still actually warm outside, and it was really pretty perfect range conditions. It may have been just a little bit hot, but I got to see how this thing would function, and it did function well. There was only a few times that at the range I noticed in slow motion footage that I saw the light flicker once or twice with recoil. That is pretty normal. I have yet to see a single light out there that has not done that at least once or twice in slow motion footage. It's really easy to not see that with the human eye, and that was the case. With the human eye, I could not see that happening at all, but with the slow motion footage, there was a little bit of flicker with the light. And that also could have been me not tightening down the front cap of the light enough and causing the battery to just have a little bit of movement on the inside. Guys, that is pretty much going to wrap up this video on the TLR RM-1. This is a pretty cool little light. If you guys have any other questions about this light or anything else on the channel, feel free to throw them down below in the comment section, and you guys know I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, check out the description for the links to the Firearm Freedom Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account. I do daily posts on all 3 of those accounts that you guys are not going to want to miss. As always, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more great videos to come soon.